Hello, my name is Cassandra Blanco. I'm Roman Catholic and I welcome you to my channel. Today's topic is going to be about exorcism and demonic possession. First, in my view, a person is broken up into four parts. The first is the physical being. I have arms, I have legs, I get sick, I have to sleep. That's all the physical part of who I am. Then we have the mental, the psychological, where I absorb information, the way I view the world, thought patterns that I have about how I view the world. Then we have the emotional, the mental or the psychological then translates into our emotions, how I feel about the world, how I feel about something I saw or I read, my feelings. And then the last would be the spiritual, the connection with God, the desire for something bigger than this world, the fact that things don't satisfy in this world, and so that longing for the human soul for God. That's what we're going to focus on here. When we talk about exorcism and demonic possession, it is incredibly particular to the spiritual world. So frequently, when people dismiss it, they just simply don't know much about what's going on in the spiritual world, and it's very particular to that world. So first, where do we hear about demonic possession and exorcism of demonic possession? For that, I'm going to go into the Gospel of Mark. It is in chapter 1, starting in verse 23. It says, "And immediately there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, 'What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God.' But Jesus rebuked him, saying, 'Be silent and come out of him.' And the unclean spirit, convulsing him and crying with a loud voice, came out of him." That is Jesus directly commanding a demonic spirit to come out of a man who was possessed. So in terms of how a person gets possessed, it can happen one of two ways. One is through a habitual mortal sin, constantly sinning mortally. That can invite demons in. And then the second would be a person who has made a covenant with evil, with the devil. Demonic possession can also happen not just through the possession of a person. So we can also see demonic happen with an infestation of a house. So for example, a haunted house, that can also happen. And also through obsession or oppression of a person, that a person feels constantly attacked. Signs of what demonic possession can look like are a person can know multiple languages, they have extraordinary strength, or they have knowledge about something that is secret that nobody else knows. There's more. Those are just a few of them. And in terms of determining if a person has possession, really, if somebody were to call, let's say, a church and ask, "I think I'm possessed," the church or the priest would frequently recommend to have first a medical examination to make sure it's not a medical condition. The second would be a psychological examination to make sure that it's not psychological. And then if those things were determined that those were not the causes, then an evaluation, if it was truly demonic possession, would be had. And then it would be the priest who would, in the authority of Jesus, exorcise those demons out of that person through a process of prayers and other things that he would use to be able to exorcise that person. The demons, that are possessing that person. So the last thing I'm going to say is that I have frequently heard people talk about how they're afraid that they're just going to get possessed by demons and by the devil. And what I would just say to that is to not live in fear, that God loves us and he wants a relationship with us. And the most important thing that we can do to protect ourselves from Satan and his minions is to stay close to God, to go to confession, to stay out of mortal sin, and to not mess in the areas of demonic stuff, to not mess in the areas of things that are satanic. So to stay on the side with God and to just do what we can to stay close to the Lord and choose to live according to his path. That's the best way that we can choose to stay free of that terror, really, that can happen to a human soul. So that will be all for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment and I will do my best to respond. I hope you have a great morning, day, or night, wherever you are in the world, and God bless you. Bye-bye.